For those of you who don't know, I am the alien hunter. What does that mean? I hunt them that hunted me and hunted my son. And I didn't like it. So that's just the way it works. I'm going to go through a couple of real quick little things about me and what I do, for a couple of you that don't know. For the rest of you that do know, we'll go through this pretty quickly. And basically what we're going to cover today is animal and human mutilations. Some of it is not death related, and the latter part of it will be. I have cleaned this up so it's not distasteful, because some of the stuff that with our doctor here and others, I prefer them to view this stuff because that's their profession, is what they do. Some of it is distressing to other people. If you're going to study the alien phenomenon, you have to study all of it. You can't pick and choose. It's not a buffet. It's all the story. And out of all of that, you have to make, I think, your assessment of what is or what is not correct. And so we've been on TV, we've done all kinds of fun stuff, but you can still see all our shows from Uncovering Aliens if you want. It's all there. If you can't find it, email me, and I'll send you the whole link, and you can watch it all for free. How's that? I'm a former police officer in the United States military. I volunteered during the Vietnam War. I spent 2 years at Central Intelligence Agency. I was a senior Korean national police officer and all of that. So we pass all this. Mutilations of high strangeness. The mutilations of high strangeness, and I'm going to go through this part kind of quickly. It means that there are lumps, bumps, cuts, scars, and all kinds of weird things that happen to people. And of course, people often like giving.
Why did they do that to me?
Well, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell me. So we just have to do the best we can. The physical ranges from laser-like firings, where the person is burnt with a laser. Often you'll see a mustache that's got a complete burn. I saw one in Italy, not Italy, one in Turkey, and another case in Houston. The guy was burned across there, and both of them said the same thing. The alien got mad at him, hit him with a laser across there, and just burnt the hair off. And what's weird, they didn't even remember. I said, how can you not notice the hair missing on your mustache? It's kind of like there's this road right there, diagonal road, and you're, really? I said, do you shave every day? You not know, and then you don't. The people are told not to remember. A lot of them don't. There are mental programs. There's also, like I said, there's laser beams, blood sucking, all strange things. And I'll show this to you in a moment. Mental programs which end up leaving abductees with OCD, suicidal thoughts. Sometimes their sexual orientation got changed. And again, I'm not picking on someone's sexuality or race or religion or anything. I'm not interested in that. All I'm interested in is the fact that you had one set of thinking one day and the next day you didn't. That's kind of important to me, because if it's your decision, that's your business. If it's someone else's decision, you might want to be wondering why. And how did you get involved in that? So we've got 5 cases in my abductees. I've got 1,950 cases, more than that worldwide. And most of them coming now from India in that area. 5 cases of people of sexual orientation where it was changed. And again, this was not their decision. This was somebody else's decision. The alien, whoever that is, decided that it was time for them to alter some things. And deviations of other people's orientations, about 22 of those. Main races affected among abductees are 45% Gaelic, Scot, Irish, Native American, Zuni, Hopi, called the alien people, Brazilian Native American, they're in South America, Turks, Basque, Hasidic Jew, and rare Mongol types. These seem to be the people more focused on by the alien. Everybody in general can fit after that, but these are the ones they seem to have a specific interest in for whatever reason they want. Races who wanted to be involved with the alien, notice the word wanted, in my opinion, were the German Nazi program, and the culprits behind that were in fact the Nordics. For some bizarre reason, all of a sudden the Germans decided if you don't have blonde hair and beautiful blue eyes, well, that's the perfect race. And then they started a breeding program, breeding little German guys and little German girls. to produce little blonde-haired, blue-eyed, perfect little Germans, and it didn't work. Hey, it doesn't work like that. What they were trying to do, in my opinion, was to make some more Nordics. We're just going to make them German Nordics. And I think that's pretty much how they got involved in the UFO program, in my opinion. They just got involved real late. And the result got conquered, and now they're working. After that, through Project Paperclip, they started working for us. You see that, or you can go to the Nuremberg war crimes, and you can swing by a rope, or you can work for us. Which one do you want to do? By the way, you're in charge of NASA. And that's pretty much the way we got our space program. Like I said, many of these Native American, my daughter painted this. She's an incredible artist. I, of course, know for it. And UFO Danger Zone, Bob Pratt wrote this wonderful book that Jacques Vallée says is the best field notes out there. He said it was excellent work. And the Native Americans in this era, during this time, for about 10 years, were assaulted, and some even died as a result from the Chupa Chupas. These are the UFOs that came up out of the river and made a sucking noise, a Chupa noise. And some people, I have permission to use this, by the way. This lady that gave me permission to do this, she's what I would refer to as a contactee, a nuclear contactee. They believe they're here to set plant fix goes on hold and all that. So anyway, these are just the tattoos on her. And I mean, everywhere. She's a nice lady, a fine lady. I have no problem. I don't care if she paints herself purple. It doesn't matter to me. I just thought it was curious that I said, sweetie, did you ever get the impression that somebody may have wanted to get you to do this? But I love them. I said, I think you're missing my point. Does any part of this seem even reasonably abnormal? No. Okay. That's all right with me. But I mean, and she's running out of skin. And she just thinks this is, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I just like to make sure it's your idea, not someone else's. Some of the mutilations that were involved with abductees, embedded objects, implanted objects, artificial inseminations, children switched at death. Really some bizarre cases. In a major hospital, 5 ladies were impregnated at one time in a closed, secured room with camera rolling, including the lesbian patient who was in coma. All of them ended up pregnant that night. The camera, of course, stopped in the middle of the filming. They don't know how that happened. Really some interesting stuff. Generally, when we start with the head first, usually marks on the neck, a red object in the ear. This one lady, 9 objects behind the ear and a bump in Philadelphia on the back of this man's head. An engineer from Iran had an object in the back of his head. In one case in Slovakia, the guy's hair turned white overnight. Holes in the top of the head, holes bored in the brain, into the skull itself. Holes in the nasal septum. I'm one of those people. My doctor at the VA hospital freaked completely out and says, when did you have that surgery? That's what surgery would that be. The inside of your nose, you look at somebody's cut clean through the nasal septum. Because I lied and I told him I didn't know what he was talking about. But that happened when I was 12 years old. And I know who did it, and I have a pretty good idea why they did it. My point is that they did it, and I did not agree to any of this. Like I said, scars on the mustache, turkey, missing tissue, one large section off the neck of one of my abductees, another one off the hip, 4 inches by 6 inches, a large section of skin and muscle missing from the hip. You go off running and you come back from your running thing, and well, it's sleep paralysis. Wow, you were running? Really? And so I don't buy that. Ocular implant fell out of an abductee's eye on December 11th, 1992, after a mass abduction of 8 people in 2 states and several cities. Golden nasal spheres. These fell out of a little girl's nose. They didn't fall out. She sneezed into a Kleenex at my discussion with mother, And they found these little tiny gold spheres inside the little girl's nose on 2 different occasions, 4 of them. This object here is rather fascinating in my opinion. Right there, little object right there, behind the eye. The guy heard my story and he said, me too. And I said, well, I hear that a lot. He said, no, I said, I have x-rays in my head during 1960, during the same time that you had your nasal implant. He said, mine's still there, it's the only difference. I said, send me the x-rays, and he did. I was most impressed with the x-rays. It doesn't prove my case was real, but it proves his was, and it was interesting that it was identical to mine. For those of you who actually want to read more about this, so I wrote a book called Alien Hunter: Evidence and Truth About Implants. That's on my table in there if you're interested. If you're interested in this sort of thing. Let's go past this. These things are very small. Those little gold spheres are so small. They're about the size of a pinhead. And I'll have them at my table. You're welcome to look at them. And some of these people that get hurt and mutilated, some of these medical examinations, according to Jacques Vallée, with these abductees are submitted to, often are accompanied by sadistic sexual manipulations reminiscent of medieval tales of encounters with demons. It makes no sense in a sophisticated technical framework. Any intelligent being equipped with these scientific marvels that UFOs possess would be able to be in a position to achieve any of these alleged scientific objectives with a shorter time and much fewer risk, and you don't need to mutilate the person to do it, folks. It's rather fascinating from this goodness.
It's fine.
Okay. A little glitch here, I'll see if I can get past it here. Maybe I will. You were asking that question about the government doing what? I have no idea. Sometimes it's just user error. Does it always happen? That's curious, isn't it? Would you go get our tech guy? Would you go get her? Yeah, we'll get him. Yeah, just in case. I want to talk to you about some of these other mutilations here. We're going to get to those very quickly. The mutilations happen not only in the minor sense that we're in a minute, whenever we get this working properly for you. I'm going to show you some mutilations of ended up in deaths of animals and of people from Brazil to the United States. Most of these you're not going to find on the internet. You won't casually find them wandering around. And the reason is because some of the mutilations that occurred, people didn't want to report. In other words, in one case I'll show you, there was a cattle mutilation happened in Dulce. And the investigators who did the investigation did a great job. Except for one part, they found inside the cow a calf. And when they pulled the calf's fetus out, what they found they didn't want to report, with good reason. The problem is the thing had what looked more like a human face on it. So the real question arises very quickly is who did that? The alien or someone else? Now, there's some really weird stuff going on called transgenics. And all you gotta do is get on your computer, go to the Google and just type in the word transgenic and hit images. Prepare yourself for some scary, weird stuff. What you're going to see there is baby stuff. It's easy. It's nothing to it. If you dig into it and study it, it'll scare you. Because there are certain people on this planet that are already doing transgenic work.
We could create
Well, we're doing really good scientific stuff. We're taking these, like you've got a heart condition or whatever, we can produce a heart inside a pig that can help you, and so we'll give you a better heart than you had. And all that sounds great until you realize that they're not just interested in doing pig parts to help people out. Some of the things they're doing are actually making people. They're not quite human. But now the aliens involved in that, and has been for quite a while, those are called hybrids. But now man is doing the same thing. And for those of you that are interested, I'm not going to hammer this or anything, or I'm not preaching at you. I'm simply relaying information. And the information is that there was a fascinating conversation, short conversation went on with several men and a man named Jesus of Nazareth. And they said, what's the end time going to look like? And he said, men's hearts will fail them for fear, seeing the things that are going to come upon the earth. And he said, as in the days of Noah, so will it be in the coming of the Son of Man. Come on. So what does that mean? Well, if you are into the biblical verses, I'm going to find we're stuck here. Brandon, you want to check and see why we're just get stuck on that slide. I'm not sure why. This become a flow.
It's the government.
It's the government, there's no question about it. The interesting thing about that statement, as I mentioned to you, okay, that's all right. Whatever we need to do. This guy has been so amazing the last several conferences. He just really saved our bacon up until now. We'll forgive you for this. Okay, go ahead. But the wonderful thing about But the statement Jesus was referring to was in the days of Noah, according to the biblical version, and also Sumerian, Warkan, and other views of this. There was some really weird stuff going on back then. What was the weird stuff? The weird stuff that was going on back then was, let's do this. Pass that one slide. Let's jump to this one. So the biblical statement, and it's not only biblical, it's historical, because there's other nations that have recorded this information through different versions, but basically somebody was tampering with the gene pool. And that's what Jesus is referring to. He said, back in those days, he said, that's going to be happening again. And everybody's like, what? And of course, here we are toward the end of the story, so to speak, or at least further down the road. And in that story, in that narrative, these so-called fallen angelics had interbred with women and produced these giants. People say, well, that really never happened. If you go to Machu Picchu and you talk to the little Peruvian people and say, hey, tell it, you know, and scientists did this. They went up there and said, you guys are really great. Look at all this great stuff you built. They said, we never did this. What? No, the giant people did that. And you'll hear these stories all over the world. And again, most of the people think this can't be true. There isn't any truth to that. But the fact is, something's been doing some pretty weird stuff. In my view, and it's just my personal view, the alien had its different ages. We talked about man having the Stone Age, the Iron Age, and all this. In my view, some of these are in fact the alien's age. The Stone Age, so to speak, was their time, and you end up with Stonehenge and stone artifacts and stuff that whether man made them or whether they assisted them or whether they, like Sitchin said, took them as slaves and made them do it or whatever. The fact is, these are someone else's ideas. And I suspect that that was, in fact, the Stone Age was their age, not ours. But we may have been part of it by being used or abused, as the Sitchin said. Generally, I cannot accept responsibility for anything that goes wrong, so I have to find someone to blame. The only person I can find near me is my tech. So, and now it's truly, I love this guy. He is just marvelous. So, question.
We've been here a few times today, and I think they got an IT problem because Freeman had the same problem. Are you running PowerPoint?
Yes.
Maybe you shouldn't use Apple computers. They may kind of screwing us for the government.
Well, Apple's one of the few ones that probably, I've talked to my tech people, they always say the same thing. Every one of them. Don't do Microsoft. That's well, I don't because I'm dumb. I just use the stuff that's simplest, which is Apple. Because you light it up and it just cranks everything up. But there may be a problem now. I don't know.
Stan Freeman had the same problem. He got stopped.
Is he using a Mac?
Yeah, it was that.
That's proof.
I think it was a Mac.
Yeah. I don't sense it that he was using a Mac, but I do.
Yeah, we can use that version. By the way, it was XP I set up.
What? Is XP? I'm pretty sure he's not a Mac man.
There's some, you know what's happening? There's probably some sort of interference.
Now, that may be true, but you know, I'm not a conspiracy buff, but he is. And he's probably, I told you he's in. I'm sure you're into something. So, but I do want to show you the things and we're going to go, we'll skip a few past through these, but I want to show you the mutilation stuff. Some of the stuff I kept out of it because it's not on the internet. Stuff I'm going to show you, you're not going to find it there. Some of the mutilations are so horrific. In fact, one lady asked me 2 days ago, well, why don't you just show me? And I said, are you sure you want to see this? Oh, yeah. I can take anything. Okay. So I showed her several pictures of this elderly woman being skinned alive in her bed. Is she happy with that now? I said, whatever you think they're up to, you might want to make a new assessment. I have no idea what scientific and high-level alien purpose one has to have to skin an elderly woman alive in her bed. And that's it. And there are other illustrations. So I will show another one of a gentleman. These little children. Are you getting one there? Okay. Yeah. I'll show another one of a gentleman. Some little kids in Brazil were going to school one day, and they heard somebody crying in the weeds. They're like, and this is a village where there's no lights or anything. It's all lanterns and things like this, fuel and this sort of thing. And I'll show you the picture of the guy too, and what happened to him. And these little children, they recognize the voice because it's a small village. They all know each other. And they go over there in the weeds, and there's this guy laying there with his eyes surgically removed. Well, it must have been the CIA that done that. Really? In the middle of Brazil? Really? I mean, come on. Well, then it was some type of, some kind of a mafia type thing. Really? Give it a rest. So, these entities, for whatever reason, decided surgically to remove this guy's eyes. No, they were not removed in such a way that you could reuse them. Somebody didn't get his eye and sell them to the local village next door. That wasn't done. So, I mean, I've heard all these stories. I mean, it really, I mean, when you do investigations for over 30 years, you kind of, figure a few things out. And that wasn't the case. I will show him. He later, the 4 investigators were there, really good people, looking at him. Of course, his eyes are all bound and everything, and he's laying on his little bed. And it's very poor people in location. My point is that the guy asked the question, the investigators, what happened to him later? After that narrative, what happened? So Willie went insane. But if you had your eye surgically removed from them, and then this is the way you are from now, what is your next choice? So they put him in an institution. So, and again, I'm not saying I don't think the aliens go out and do this all the time. I don't believe that. I'm just saying that they do it sometimes, and when they do it, it is horrific. And of course, it doesn't mean a whole lot until it's you or one of your relatives. Then the whole world changes. Then it's a real person. Yes, sir.
Yes, some people with negative blood types targeted.
Thank you about bringing up the blood thing. This is a funny story, but it's a good one. A lot of people believe that RH negative or whatever, they're very different views on it. These blood types are the big one or not the big one, whatever. And one of them's O negative, which I am, so I guess I'm one of them. And we had a lady speak at our Houston UFO Network one night, and she is a stem cell specialist at MD Anderson. She's hot. I mean, that woman is sharp as a razor. And we've got this one guy that sits in our class. It comes every time. And I swear, the only time he asks a question is because he's got 40 answers. And of course, he knows everything. And so one of them, I told him beforehand, I said, this is a stem cell specialist. Be careful. Of course, like an idiot, he just waded right into her, and she just ripped him a new one. And she says, he says, but it's RH negative, and we said, we've done these tests. She says, you haven't done anything. So first of all, you know what you're talking about. You don't have a clue. And after I tell you how wrong you really are, and why you need to be paying attention, he said, Mr. Sims said you've never run into it before. And he said, and you're proof of it. She said, I'm a stem cell specialist, and I'm going to tell you how it works. And she pulled up the RH negative. She said there were over 52 different kinds. Which flavor do you think you got? Looked like a deer in headlights. And she said, and the ones down there that says 000 dot, she said, those are the ones we know exist, but we haven't yet identified them. She said, I think Mr. Sims is correct when he says we need to be looking at this. She said, you're at the point where you just think you can just make up whatever answer you want, and that must be it. She says, we don't know yet. Are we interested? Absolutely. Again, another bottom line to me is the business of that not only we're reasonably sure there's something to do with the blood types, but not necessarily the blood, but something in the blood. Does that make sense? I don't know that it's the blood type yet. I'm not willing to take that leap of whatever it is because we don't know that yet. Like when she started pulling these, I mean, I've got the whole slide presentation left. Like you just feel stupid whenever she starts opening it up. No, I don't do that. Because she'll hurt you. And she did. And I mean, he always just had 14 new answers. She shut him down so fast. And he quit coming. Anytime she speaks, he doesn't show up. And we could be darn good.
I don't know what slide you're on.
Well, hey, you better have it right. What am I paying you for? Nothing really. That's love stuff. Give me a big hand. He is my main man. Let me sit down if you would. Just give me a second to make sure we can all get this back up to speed. But what I really want to show you, especially tonight and today, is this is a lady that's got an implant next to her heart. Here's her breast, her stomach, her back, and the lung here. This is a military person. They're military related, not in the military. Husband's in the military. Got something the size of a walnut. Her doctor says we are not going to, would never, obviously we would never, and we would never be involved in anything that was surgically invasive to the point that it might cause danger to that person. We're not going to do that. We just don't do that. So this one, if she passes away, I hope they give us first shot at the body. Yes, we want it, but not while she's alive. And certainly not, we would never be involved in that. What you think happened in your abduction sometimes is vastly different than what really happened. This lady here swears that there was never a negative event in her entire life. 17-year-old boy was standing there watching while she and her brother were taken, and he painted this picture later of the event. The genitalia, again, will end up with surgical-like scars, lumps in their scrotum, usually followed by sexual dysfunction for 6 months to 2 years. Women, missing parts. I've got one lady now that tells me half her labia is missing. Another labia, whole sections of it are taken, and this is medically documented by her doctor. Something keeps taking parts of her. This is pretty fascinating stuff. But I'm going to get past this. This guy called the fetus stealer. I don't have time to get into why I think he is, or why he did what he did, but he takes fetuses. The famous Betty Barney Hill case, which we know and love the case, is a wonderful case with Kathy Martin, wonderful case. We've got a lady with an almost identical case. The only difference is the artificial insemination we took. And remarkably, so her son's present. He's here. I've got 2 cases that I can put my hands on right now. They're here. So do I think they are aliens or hybrids? No, I do not. I think what we have here basically is people who were artificially inseminated with the sperm of a male abductee. If you do DNA testing, you'll find it's not her. It's not her. And that's going to be rather fascinating. In these rare cases of artificial insemination, we found that these dogs, and these dogs are all carefully screened. They do not get out. All these dogs are byproducts of an artificial insemination, apparently from the alien themselves, who artificially inseminated a woman, and she ended up pregnant, but so did her dog who was on vacation with them. And these are all the babies, the different babies that came from that artificial insemination, according to her testimony. Dr. Carla Turner, she and I were buddies. Before she passed away, she gave me this evidence. And she, Dr. Livingston gave me this evidence, and I compared it to, first, he was floored. He said, my God, it's the same thing. I said, no, you don't know that, Doc. It looks like it. It doesn't mean it is. Legs and arms, scoop marks, deltoid area, implanted bone. This is the case I just finished the search for work on in India, and that object is attached inside the muscle, just below the skin. Fascinating story involving the family, and I mean, it is an amazing case. You can make a movie on this and be very, very well entertained. It was a fascinating case. This is one of my abductees with 7 scoop marks in a row right up his leg. I had my cardiovascular surgeon already remove the so-called implant, which we knew was not an implant in his leg. And then we had him remove one of the scoops because I wanted to test it as well. This lady was sexually assaulted, she claims, by a men in black, an alien, whatever it is. And I have the sheets, the covers, the pillowcase. She said, why do you want my pillowcase? And I said, because he probably slaughtered, and I want all the DNA, everything. And so I have that whole thing. Well, why don't you get this case all finished then? Well, we never donate another $50,000. Well, we've got to do that. So this stuff costs money. We do it out of our own pocket. We do not charge these abductees a dime. It's a philanthropic effort. We are not here to make money off these abductees. Believe in what's happened to them. I know it's real, but I just have to take this at my own speed. That's just the way it works. This fetus, you can see the head, the large bulbous head, pointed chin right there and everything. This was shown to a group of doctors in England, and they were stunned. And you got to understand, they see all kinds of messed up human beings at various different levels of trauma. And Anyway, this is rather, what's fascinating too is that some of these images that we see, the little bumps of the head like the Barjuna case, where the alien had 3 nodules on his head, this mask was seen 5,000 years prior to that. And it was put on whenever the alien, whoever they were, came down, and they would confront the alien with that little mask on. And I've touched on this once before. This is King Tut's tomb. This is a fetus, perhaps his or one of his, I don't know. About 6 inches tall, and then there's this. Whatever that is. I found that very curious. I'd love to see the DNA of this thing. On feet, implants near, in, or between the toes, heel, arch. I'm just going to touch on this. Strap marks. Again, why in the world does an alien need to strap you down for your benefit? I'll leave that up to you. This lady here, Native American, she was cut from across both her thighs and put them together. This is a match cut all the way across. She said, what's weird is I don't have any remembrance of that. And she said, yeah, I got these huge scars across my thighs from my event. I just don't understand that. This is a remarkable case of an implant on top of the guy's foot. The doctor, and this does happen, I'll warn you, I'll get my doctor to take it out. You might want to get us to advise you on that before you do it. The doctor, when he took this out, gave 3 different stories of why it disappeared. All 3 of them are totally different. I told him, go back to the doctor and tell him you want the implant. And tell him, he'll figure it out real quick. And he says, well, what if he says no? I said, show him your new x-ray that shows the implants back in there. I think they call that malpractice. When you get paid to move something because it's there after the operation. But now we kind of have an idea that somebody put one back in there, and I don't think it was the doctor, it was someone else. But I said, he's no question got the implant. There's no question about that. He's the only one who had access to it. So this is an implant inside a lady's foot. This is a doctor's wife in Brazil. She had a large needle-like implant between her toes there. He's an abductee himself, and he could not see this. I had to point it out to him because one of the things you're instructed to do as an abductee, you're not supposed to remember. And guess what? It doesn't matter if you're a doctor. He couldn't see it. I put this out to him and said, hey, bud, 2 weeks later, look at that. And he said, why couldn't I see that? You're an abductee. You're part of the problem. Culprits. There's human agency. Cattle mutilations, transgenics we talked about. There's no question that there is an intelligence operation going on. Yes, I totally agree with that. There's also an alien agency in mutilations, where mutilations were cattle, horse, elk, deer, rabbits, pets, humans, 2 children in Dallas, Texas. I'm sorry, that's alien involvement. Cattle, there are transgenics in humans, both in an 1880s case and in mutilation case. I'll go into that in just a moment. So here's the cases I wanted you to look at real quick, and then we'll have some question and answer time. Hopefully I can answer some of these things. This is a case of a deer. I did not want to get graphic with all this stuff. I don't want to do that. It's not my purpose. The deer has been assaulted by the alien, in our opinion, was scored out just exactly like horses and cattle and so on. It's the same thing. They get deer as well. It doesn't make elk. It doesn't make any difference. They have their own reasons for this, and I'll answer that if somebody brings it up in the question and answer time. Here you can see in these petroglyphs, thousand years ago, the alien actually taking their sheep and taking their animals with them. That's reminiscent of the cattle mutilations today. So,
well, I think that's good did that.
well, they do that too. I got it. I understand that. We know we have a pretty good idea how that happens, but I'm telling you, the CIA did not do that over 1,000 years ago. They just didn't do it. Somebody else might have done it. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Goodness. This is a case that's very troubling out of Brazil. There's about 2 or 3 of them here I want to show you the focus on. This is it. This particular case is a farmer, and when I say farmer, I mean these people have large ranches and farms. he goes, they say, I gotta go into town and get some food. Now, that's not like next door. They might be gone 2 or 3 days to go to town to get their stuff, their supplies. While he's gone, this is the worker, and he's got a little tiny house out there. When the farmer comes back, the rancher comes back, he calls for the worker, and he can't find him. Where's he at? What's going on here? And he calls for him, he can't find him. And he looks around and he sees several of his cattle are dead, carbonized. Not just mutilated, I mean carbonized. You ever remember the Star Wars story? Luke, not Luke, the other guys.
It's been carbonized.
That's about what it is. I mean, that is, it's unreal. So he sees some of his cattle have been carbonized. Several chickens have been carbonized. It's been raining for several days since then. So he looks at it, it's like, what in the world? So he keeps calling for his worker. And he can't find him, so he looks inside the window and he sees the worker laying, here's his head, there's his arms, and laying on the floor. Carbonized. Inside the room that's locked. Obviously, he had seen this stuff happen on the outside, ran inside for protection, locked the door. It didn't make any difference. Whatever wanted him got him. There was a dog involved in this as well. The dog was half carbonized. He was still alive when the police showed up. Again, the room was locked. The guy let the cops break in and do all that because obviously you don't want to be involved in messing with a crime scene. Because it is a crime scene. I don't care what anybody thinks. This is a crime scene. So here's this horrific situation, and the dog carbonized. When I was on Uncovering Aliens, the movie, the TV show, about 7 of us were trying out for the positions to see who's going to be the investigator in the show. And I said, well, there isn't any choice. I mean, I'm an ex-cop and ex-CIA. I mean, who's going to be me? And anyway, they came up and they said, well, Snippy the horse, we know all about that. And these people are all real read about the internet stuff, and so they're reading all this. And I said, what you may not know about Snippy is the fine white powder that was found underneath Snippy's head.
What are you talking about?
I said, the stuff you don't know anything about. Of course.
Well, I never read that.
I said, the best investigators didn't want you to know. These are things you keep apart from others because you don't want them doing what you're doing in these cases. Well, I never heard of that. So I just told you why you didn't know. I said, in this case, and I'm pointing this case out here in Brazil, I said, underneath this man and the dog, because they were not outside in the rain, they found the same powder. Well, it got real quiet. So I said, my point is that there are things that go on in these events that we don't tell people on purpose. For lots of good reasons. I said, you won't know. I said, you're not doing the investigative service of the apology, any service or any help by doing what you do. This is wrong. So anyway, when I talked to one of the people involved, one of my people who were still involved in this case, I said, so what happened to the body? He said, well, the police came and then they called the federal police, and then they called the military police, they called everybody. They're all scratching their heads, they don't know what to do. They said they took the body back down to the city, and then they put the body in a shallow grave and buried it. And I said, surely your investigators didn't buy that. And she said, no, he didn't. This is what happened. She said, after the police chief retired, great idea, good investigator, went back and had a little private conversation with the chief of police. What happened to the body? She said, what, could any way we go over and kind of dig it up a little bit and see who's under there? He said, there's nothing to dig up. He said, they went out and put some dirt on top of the ground, make it look like fresh grave. He says, nobody buried there, never has been. She said, who got it? He said, oh no, those guys from the CIA. They were here the next day. We have an agreement with that country about this sort of thing. Yes, we do. Like I said, they don't want you to know everything. I think we do need to know. I truly do. But they should be making those decisions for us. This is one of my abductees, a wonderful lady. This is her before and after picture. This is what she looks like normally. This is what she looks like after her abduction camp. She's in, this after she came out of the hospital. You see the bruisings on both sides of her head there. They put a device on the side of her head that bruised her severely, hurt her. She's a sweetheart of a lady. If that were the only thing, just the mutilation stuff that happened to her, I would say that's bad and let's get on with it. But the problem was it wasn't just her. Her 2 children were taken in the abduction. She was present in it, by the way. And long story short, the 2 children, I keep telling people that the aliens sometimes, these low-rent little cosmic skinheads, they haul you off. They're not very smart. They got an IQ of about 80. And sometimes they put their clothes on inside out or backwards, or the wrong clothes, the wrong person. Guy comes back with girl's clothes, and backwards, like, what in the world? And you can't figure out, and that's how you kind of realize, hey, something's happened we didn't recognize in our event. Well, in this case, the alien picked these little kids up in a wading pool about this big, little tiny kids, in a wading pool by the front door, so mom could watch through the screen, watch her little kids laughing and playing while she's ironing, watching as my stomach churns, or whatever the name of it is. Something like that. So, next thing mom noticed, she looks up and we're kids. What mom doesn't realize is mom was taken at the same time the kids was. And a lot of things she didn't remember, I helped her with that. And that was fairly easy to do. She came out just unbelievably clear. She could hear her kids screaming in the other room on that craft. When they brought them back, they put them in the wrong. I told you some of them not very smart. They didn't put them in the wading pool. They put them in the neighbor's swimming pool. These kids can't swim, they're children. Little guys, and as I looked at and I do have the autopsy reports, I know what I'm talking about. First of all, the kids could never have gotten in those pools. And the reason is because it has a double fence around it. These are little tiny guys. The pool is small, it's elevated, it's up on another deck, and that's got a fence around it. They're laying in the pool ground because the alien made a mistake. He put them in the pool. Now, mom doesn't believe it. She said they killed my kitties, so she wants to get even with that. I mean, but they make huge mistakes. One of them is they put these kids in the wrong pool and they drown. And that's just all there is to it. It's a heartbreaker, but it's just a true case. The chupacabra, the so-called chupacabra and the chupa chupas, which is these alien ships that come up out of the water, out of in the south, in Brazil particularly. They shot laser-like beams at some of these Amazonian Indians. This went on for over 10 years. This is not an occasional case. This went on for years. They messed with these natives. And this excellent work done by the guy that showed you the book previously. And this is a case in Brazil. One of my investigators there, there's a sheep getting mutilated. And again, they appear to have these holes near the neck, kind of like a vampire. I hate using that word. But blood was sucked out of them. However, or whatever it was, I don't know. That doesn't appear to be cult related, but who knows? Now this was the Stimpy case. Again, the skin excised over the jaw and so on. And the powder was found underneath. And again, if I hadn't checked, if I had lifted that body, a lot of things, in my opinion, that we missed on mutilation cases. I begged some of my buddies to go out and I said, please take your black light. Please take your black light. If aliens have touched that body, it's going to show up brilliant color. Please look for this nanometer length of fluorescence on those bodies. They never did. I don't know why. Please take a metal detector. These illustration. One of my friends, Bill Burns, on a TV program, they had a cow and This guy had lost all kinds of cattle. He was literally crying because he's going to lose his ranch because they're losing all their cattle to mutilations. And young guy was out there the day before because Bill and the others are going to fly in and make a big investigation, put it on TV, make a big case out of it. The problem is the guy was out there. It was very cold and near the cow in this case. And this kid is so brilliant. I just love it. I love people who do things out of it. Just do it wrong. Do it out of the box. He pulls out a metal detector. Oh, this dead cow is mutilated before they even get there. Guess what happens? Found something metal in it. Well, that's pretty neat, but it might have been a bullet. Who knows? The problem is, the bullet or whatever it is, it's moving. It's moving in the cow while it's been mutilated person. Does this interest anybody? Whatever it is, there's something still in there, still moving around. Now, when Bill and them got there, they didn't have a clue. We're buddies, don't get me wrong. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just telling you people miss stuff because they do things dumb. This is dumb to me. So the kids got to go pick Bill and them up at the airport. No, you get on the phone and say, no, I will not leave this cow. Call Uber. No, don't leave the evidence. You got to take care of the boss. Goes out there, comes back, metal detector, nothing. Nothing. Does anybody get my drift? Don't leave your evidence. Stick with the business here. Goodness, if you find something like that, carry a metal detector. Use a black light, preferably with numerous nanometer lengths. We're missing so much evidence on these cows you can't believe it, and other animals. This simply was just one. Human mutilations. When you say human mutilation, most people say, oh, I know all about that. That Garrett-Spanga case is Water-Spanga. And it's then the two children I told you about, the guy that had his eyes removed and the carbonized man just as nil. This is the Water-Spanga case. In this case, now the UFO people, that's why I have a problem with them. They call themselves investigators, journalists, and things like that. And they're not. Oh, well, let's see this case mutilated here. So they took the Water-Spanga case. The man he is an alcoholic, an alcoholic. They found him floating in the water for like 5 or 6 days. Some fishermen found him and they pulled him over the side, they called the police and all that. And his mouth has been excised just like sniffing a horse. Same deal. They took these pictures and they had the doctors do their examination and then they asked the big question. What did that? Well, we don't know. Then they showed them some real cases of cattle mutilations in the United States. Looked exactly like it. And guess what? Doctors concluded whatever did this to the man did this to the cows. Well, that was, not rocket science, but okay, let's suppose that's the case. Then years later, because the case is old now and everybody knows all about it, so there's nothing to report, nothing to put in the magazine, they go out and change their mind and say, well, a little mouse in South America bores a little hole, and he did that, and so we really think what really happened is not alien related, it's just a little mouse. Really? You're trying to sell more pulp for your magazine. But whatever that little mouth was, he not only went inside and he ate only the organs inside, didn't harm anything else, excised the jaw around it. And the big question to me is, anybody know anything about the waters of Brazil? Is anything out there that might eat you? There are all kinds of things in those waters out there. All kinds of stuff. This guy had been in the water for 5 or 6 days, and he had not been touched by any animal. Nothing. Nothing. This is very consistent with cattle mutilations. Where the animal there's no signs of predation like any other animal. Fascinating stuff. So, wow, I like that. There's another case that was similar to the Water-Spanga case. This is the gentleman with his eyes surgically removed. I told you about this case. They're talking to him. He later went to an insane asylum after this. He just couldn't deal with it. This is the case I wanted to tell you about that's very troubling. Remember I told you about the guys that did this wonderful work under a cattle mutilation case up in the Dulce area? The problem is, inside the cow they found this. And they're not really sure what that is, whether it's human or what it is. The inside that has the head of something else like a human, or whatever it is inside the calf. He said, well, they did not report this, by the way, and with good reason, because first of all, people think you're nuts, and number two, it's not consistent with regulations. Stay away from it. And that's the problem in the UFO field. Just because it's different or other than is not the same as it was before, you report the evidence anyway. I don't care how weird it is or how stupid it sounds, you report the evidence of the case. When you don't do that, and then you find out about it 10 years later, you start finding these in other locations, on other animals, in other places. Look at what I've done. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can reach back here. Okay. It's not going to do. Okay, so I'm going to show you this as well. Let me just do this. But in this case, it's kind of important, in my opinion, because what you're looking at here is another case of human alien, who knows who did it. Like fetus born from a cow. Is it a transgenic? There it is. Now, somebody did that. I don't know if it was alien. I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody because I don't know. All I know is that it's not natural. Cows don't normally have half human, half cow. They don't do this, or vice versa. So this kind of doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense here. It didn't make sense in these cases. It doesn't make sense. However, when you start looking at some of the things the aliens have been doing that's been reported by abductees and sometimes contactees, you realize, oh my gosh, there may be something going on that we don't realize in this alien phenomenon. In cases even in gosh, this is just awful. There's a great story that was on the internet for quite a while and on TV about the Russian mutilations of some hikers, and they were killed by, they don't know what did it. But it indicates that something big, alien or other out there may have done this act against these people. Again, we don't know because we just can't. I haven't been able to get enough evidence to convince me of who did it, but something did. It's certainly the case of high strangeness. But all the hikers and all of them involved died and were mutilated, and it doesn't make any sense from a human point of view. But other creatures have been shown up in history, and also more recently, these some things called the dogmen. And you say, well, you know, it's all bull, and somebody made all that up. And one of a very dear friend of mine, who's an ex-sheriff, told me a story. He said, Derrel, he said, I know a lot about you. And I said, really? Don't tell anybody. And he says, but you were in the company. He said, you were a good guy. I said, why do you say that? And he said, listen to me. He said, I know you know what I'm talking about. He said, there are good people in the company and there are people that aren't. He said, I was one of the ones that wasn't. He said, I have done things that, to my everlasting shame, I wished I'd never done. He said, I wished I could change my past. He said, I was not the guy that you wanted. He said, I was the evil part of the company. He said, I did everything. And he told me a story. He said, I'm going to tell you the story, and he said, I'm going to give you some evidence on Bigfoot. And I said, okay, I'm really interested. So I'm going to give you a urine sample, I'm going to give you a fingernail, and I'm going to give you some other evidence on Bigfoot. He said, go have them analyzed. He said, you can find the same thing I did. He said, now here's the deal. The story I want to tell you. He said, please don't tell anybody my name. He said, because I can deal with the CIA stuff and the bad things that I did. He said, and I'm guilty of everything. What I can't deal with is this thing. He said, I was in a location, doing checking up on some UFO stuff and everything. He thought it maybe Bigfoot or something like that. He said, Derrel, he said, I saw something, stood hair on the back of my neck up. He said, I'm not afraid of hardly anything. This thing scared me so bad. He said, I pulled out my 357 and fired and shot that thing point blank. And he said, it jumped like 20 feet here and it let out a scream. He said, by the time it finished screaming, his gun, I was already running downhill, crying like a little girl. He said, I'd hate to admit that. He said, but I cried like a little girl, scared to death that thing was going to get me before I got down to the truck. And he said, there's more than one out there. Of course, my answer was, where is he at? What do you mean? I said, I hunted them, that's what I do. He said, I thought you'd say that, so I made some special rounds just for you. He said, mine didn't have any effect on it other than shooting. It made him mad. He said, and I was running down that hill. He said, you remember the movie Danny DeVito was shooting over his head in the movie? Pow, running away from the federales and so on. I forget the name of the movie. He said, that was me running down the hill as fast as I could, scared to death. He said, I don't know what the thing was, but I know one thing. It was after me. He said, it scared me half to death. And I said, well, those are just stories to me. Where is he at? So I'm supposed to have a meeting with him this year, and hopefully I will get that information, the exact location on several things, but that's a big one. And we'll find out if he's real or not. But this creature has not been reported just here. In this one event, it's been reported by one of the top people in Roswell. 15 years ago to me, right? I never told anyone. Why would I not do this? Because I don't want to out them. I want everybody to know the truth. But I have to have substantiation. That one story isn't enough. It's great. It's a fabulous story. It's wow. But I have to have more. I have to have more than as an investigator. I got to have something bigger to go on. And so this is the bottom line. Okay, I'm going to have to get some question answered. So is it real? I don't know yet, but I'm working on it. And I guess we'll find out quick enough. So if you got any questions or want to throw stuff at it, go fire away. It's weird, and I agree. I'm the first one in line to admit that it's weird. Yes, sir, you first.
Yeah, first episode on Uncovered Aliens, and you and Steve Jones and the rest of the Bradshaw Ranch, have you been back since you investigated?
I have not. I admit freely what I did admit there. That when I told that, remember I told in that section of the movie, I told the girl, the guy, I said, y'all go over and investigate what doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll go down there and investigate with my buddy, this other guy, what does exist. So I went down there. I knew the UFO had landed in that exact spot, but I'd done my homework. I'm not going to let Uncovering Aliens, the writers, tell me what the story is so I can help them develop their narrative. I'm an investigator. So I went out and had discussions with all kinds of interesting people, and not the ones that are selling their story, so to speak. And because we didn't find any underground base there. And I asked the guy, I said, where's the underground base? I don't know. Over there somewhere. I said, that's not good enough. You're lying to us. Really made me mad. But I already knew that anyway. And so the people in the case asked the question, is there an underground base running? I said, well, why would you ask me that? How do I know? He's Mr. Sanders, your FCA. In your opinion, is there, and we're standing on the side of the cliff. And I said, if I were going to hide one out here, I would put it right there. He said, I said, oh my God, that's a giant concrete company. Really? I said, we've been here for 2 days. The closest place is like 15 miles that way, Sedona, and a little tiny town over here that's probably hadn't had 10 yards of concrete poured in 10 years. That's the biggest concrete company I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks like a small city lit up at night. Where are the workers? Why are the concrete trucks not moving? Where's the business? I said, in the company, we call these proprietaries. Now, these are companies either made by us or made by someone, and we pay them. We're going to give you, how'd you like to have $2 million worth of concrete work a year? Guaranteed. And mouth shut. Run your business. We're going to bring our people through here, and they're just employees. And it's that simple. And the fact is, you may not pour a yard of concrete. You still get paid. This is the way it works. So I said, I'm not saying it is. See, I have no clue. But if I were going to do it, I said, I'd put it in plain sight. But there hasn't been anybody move there at all for all this time. What's going on? What I didn't tell them is where the underground base was. Why didn't I do that? Because they put it on the internet right off the bat. There'd be 500 people out there destroying that whole case within hours. I guarantee you won't find another thing about it. And that's it. It's over. I think I'll do that by myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you got it. You got to hold your cards close. And if you tell abductees things that you don't want the alien to know, you're a fool. Because every time they meet them and they're with them, they're going to download everything in their little heads. So I don't tell anything to abductees I don't want the alien to know, especially my secrets. That's what I want to do. And it's paid off. Yes, sir.
So what happened on that Stephenville UFO case? And what's the latest on the
Stephenville case was rather fascinating. UFOs, everybody saw these, and they had all kinds. There's a lot of controversy about it. The interesting thing was when the military said we don't have any airplanes up, we don't know anything about it and everything. So the UFO investigator sent some pictures back of UFOs and some airplanes and said, how is it you don't know airplanes and UFOs are in your airspace? Here are the airplanes, here are the UFOs in your airspace over your military base, and you said there was no one flying. Here's the times, the dates. We got them on film. How is it that you don't know what's going on above your base? Well, obviously they're lying. So the case was good, it was valid, it's an excellent case. I don't mind to make this negative in any sense word, but basically, so what? I mean, we got a million of these cases. I mean, you caught the government with their pants down. So, really? How many times do you do that? It doesn't change anything. So it goes back to, from my point of view, where's the evidence? And it's not just, we have to have more than just a story. That's a great story, it's a great narrative, it's true, it's all real. These people did a great job. We got to have something more. Like, why are they hiding? We need somebody on the inside of that base talking to us. Does that make sense? Get in there and get somebody else. Get your deep throat right there inside the base. Don't go up and ask the information officer, what really happened at Roswell? Well, we changed our mind. Nothing happened. Dumb. This is dumb. Get somebody on the inside. Like Jesse Marcel, like Mac Brazil. Get somebody on the inside. Somebody goes down the bar and, I can't believe I didn't get all that stuff. I still got a box right here. A couple guys sitting there right next to him, goes over and grabs stuff. Says, thank you. Not very smart. Keep your evidence away from everybody. You're going to get your stuff stolen. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to add, they also did the radar evidence, and they found, they analyzed the radar, that there were 10 F-16s following the craft in the area of Stevensville. And it was before the FAA got smart about what the guys were after. So they also have a radar evidence.
They made a huge mistake. You got them with their pants down, no question about that. But the problem is this. The commander of the base said it didn't happen. We got nothing. Nobody was up there. Well, why do we have all this radar evidence? So either you don't know or you're lying through your teeth. He was lying through his teeth, of course he was. He just didn't know that anybody had actually been smart enough to go up there and get the radar reports. They did. Yes, sir.
Have you ever investigated any cases of the black-eyed children, or if you have, what do you think of this whole black-eyed children?
Black-eyed children. I have a problem with black-eyed children thing. I've seen some videos of it and stuff like that. I don't know if I brought it with me. I think I did. I've got a picture of a black-eyed woman. Scary stuff. This was a case, a very famous news reporter named Ralph Steiner up in San Francisco years ago, early 1990s. I met him and he said, this lady is CIA and she's all that. I said, well, first of all, why are you hanging around with a woman that's trying to destroy you and your family? Who's CIA, she says. And one day she says, I'm an alien. And he's like, everything she said must be right. She's destroying your family. Don't you get it? This is a game. She comes back the next day with solid black eyes. Scared him half to death. I said, my friend, may I, since we're friends, may I be blunt? He said, yeah. I said, how did you get stupid? The woman's destroyed your family, breaking you up. She's taking you for a ride. She goes down and gets these beautiful black lenses that she had made, puts them over her eyes, tells you she's an alien. Are you dumber than bag hammers or what? And I've seen these videos of these little kids with black eyes. Whoa! How did the kids steal the camera that was on the tree and they keep carrying it around with them? Click, click, click. Click, click, click. And then they give it back to the guy. Why do I think that's not real? That's what I think. Almost all the real black-eyed cases, black-eyed children cases, notice the size, big kicker, size, black eyes. Does the alien ever mimic or give off imagery that is not true? Yes. Sometimes it's a deceased relative, sometimes it's your parents or your dog, but they always have large black eyes. Sometimes the children who see these aliens with the little black eye, they call themselves Dennis the Menace. I wonder why. And things like that. Michelin tire man with large black eyes. They're using imagery from you. Many of these are abductees who are simply seeing this alien, but they're accepting the screensaver imagery of what they wanted you to think it was. So far, nobody's shown me any proof that there's this black-eyed child running around here. And the guy doing all this stuff with the video, I gotta tell you, whenever you leave your camera out for them to get, and then they get it, they take pictures of themselves and then set it back so you can. You need to get your head examined. Well, I'm sure it's them because I see a little picture right there. Took pictures of themselves. Ooh. That's why you're on the internet. That's what's wrong with you. Anyway, my dear friends, I appreciate you and I love your questions. I'm going to let you go. We're going to be at our table in a few minutes. If you got questions, want to hang out and everything, I'd love to do that. So I did something I'm really happy with this year. I've gone through about 1,000 different types of these little black lights, and I finally found one that can be seen for over a mile. It has the correct nanometer length. It will detect fake money, passports, driver's license, all kinds of weird stuff. Does exactly what I want it to do in the UFO thing, but for investigative purposes as well. I finally got it, and you can't accidentally turn it on and run the battery down. It'll last for years. I love it. We got a bunch of them today. You want to purchase one. They're real simple. Because most people don't want, because I went through big ones and small. I got a huge one for $500 for that one. But the reason I like the small one you can put on a keychain is you can check yourself for physical contact made instantly, and you can do it like immediately. And you don't have to fumble around and drag the stuff I do around with me for investigations. You can do it simple, quick, and easy. It's the correct nanometer length. If you've had physical contact with them, it's going to show up. So I'm going to, if I have the picture, I'll show you the picture of the lady with black. He took a picture of Ralph Steiner. She got to be dumber than back hammers to ball this. She played that. Fortunately, he went back with his wife. They got all together, all happy, but she got away. Intelligent people really bother me. They really do. I used to be one of them. Not intelligent. I'll talk to you later. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.